Enough of these games. Let's see if Fabi.
Let's switch over. And by the way, we have a repeat again of a game that was played yesterday in the Rapid. It was also this Joko piano with bishop on b2.
This reminds me of the game actually between Linier
and
Svidler, right?
Right.
Oh, so
that was Peter Svidler playing the bishop e3 check
yes.
to turn the tables, and Linier just groaned when he saw that move, bishop e3. Okay, d5. The whole purpose of the move bishop b2 is this bishop is in ambush, attacking the rook on e5, and the move c4, and that was my question.
Bishop g4, a lot of pieces hanging. Can I go
f3?
F3 attacks everything, but on the other hand, my dark squares are very weak.
Yes, but I'm thinking that after f3, I'm so happy that my pawn on a5 covers the b6 square, so I can't get checked and harassed on g1. Okay, I think f3, rook h5, is that his idea?
Whoa. That would be fun.
That would be crazy.
That would be fun.
Because then comes e5, and it's
a mess.
It's a total mess. But I may not be threatening to take on f6. So I'm just thinking if rook h5.
And he has very quickly played, I didn't catch the move, but f3 and bishop e6 is just straight up sacrificing the exchange, saying my dark squares are very important. Let me just give up that rook.
Wow.
Wow, what understanding of this position.
I'm saying great prep too, because I'm having trouble here. So I can take the rook.
You can. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to determine. What is wrong? Because I will always have this move knight on d2 to f1 whenever, trouble brews brightly on the king side. I've got that great defensive move. So bishop takes
Put it
e5.
on the board, right? Let's check it out. We do have the analysis board on the right. Bishop takes e5. Bishop takes e5 looks forced to me. You might as well move the rook. Oh, can you take on
on d5? That was what I'm thinking too. But okay, your first instinct is a good one. Or maybe rook to rook a2. No, I like rook c1.
Yeah, and maybe I have to start playing positional, play something like queen d6 and just harass your position on the king side.
As well as maybe tickling the pawn.
And Peter said no, thank you. Pawn takes d5, pawn takes d5, f4. I want to take your rook, but not with my bishop. Leave my bishop alone. I love it on b2. He's attacking the rook with the f4 pawn. Does Fabi have choices? He does have choices, actually. He can go bishop g4 back. He can put his rook. I don't think he can put his rook on h5 because I would capture your knight on f6, which is the defender of the knight on. Oh, sorry, of the rook on h5.
Mm-hmm. But then there is queen d. Boy, this is some. Well, from what do we expect? Whenever Fabi sits down at the board, he brings great ideas.
This is very exciting.
But what about rook takes e4?
Rook takes e4 could also be playable. I don't like my compensation as much when.
Why not?
Because of the bishops. I get to keep my bishops in this line.
You think so? A move like queen d4 gets your attention, and what you just said about keeping your bishops, that bishop on b2 is good.
And for that reason, Fabi has played the move bishop g4. It gives the rook extra alternatives on where to move back. I don't think you can sacrifice this queen, so the queen does have to move.
Yeah, because you're thinking about it, but no. With the bishop on b3 hanging, I could take on e5 with the pawn and somehow take on f6, but unfortunately, when the bishop takes on d1, it's attacking the bishop. So we're expecting queen d1,
queen c2 played,
queen c2,
as well as rook e8
on the board.
On the board.
Okay.
The game, well, it changed dramatically.
It really has. It's so early, but it's gone through really metamorphosis. Here, e5
screams to be played, right?
But then comes knight h5, keeping up the tickling. Then I agree the knight is offsides on h5, but it does have purpose, threatening to take the pawn on f4.
It's surprisingly awkward to defend this pawn on f4, and it's vital to defend it because it keeps your structure alive.
Yeah, I mean, your queen on c2 is not that great. If your queen could for example, magically go to E3 once the knight gets to H5 in order to defend the pawn on F4, I'm a fan.
I think I would be a big fan of White's position, but as it is right now, I like Black's chances. It feels like the counterplay is there.
And I really do not want to play the move G3 here. I feel like I'm leaving my king rather vulnerable. But on the other hand, I cannot allow bishop takes F4. Bishop takes F4 ruins my position as White.
I don't like E takes D5.
Not one bit. Rook E1, knight D5. But okay.
He's played E5, knight H5, and rook F1.
Yes. I didn't like G3, but then again, I love the rook on E1, but okay, you got to do what you got to do. And in this case, White absolutely had to defend the pawn on F4.
Peter down already to a minute. Forget how fast Blitz is. A minute left here for Peter Svidler. The move G6 was played.
I love that move.
I love that move too. It gives the F5 square to the bishop or to the knight, allowing him to retreat. Queen D3 played quickly by Peter, and there he goes. Knight back to G7. He wants to rejoin the fray with knight F5 or knight E6. Fabi saying, you want that pawn on E6? You can have it. There's a lot of pin problems on that point. And Peter says, I don't care about your supposed tactics.
I want that pawn. Thank you for the offer.
The Pawn Grabbers Association
loves it.
Vice President Peter Svidler.
Right.
Oh, and that's the tactic.
Ooh.
Bishop E6. That's a pin, but guess what? Knight E4.
Oh, that's a beautiful move.
Beautiful.
That was missed.
That was definitely missed. You can see Fabi thinking instantly, missing the idea of knight F6 check, picking up whatever lands on D5. That cements the extra pawn for White. But more than that, I think Black's position kind of collapsing. The knight has to retreat back to H5.
Now it's all easy traffic for White. Rook AD1, defending the bishop on D5, extra pawn, and compensation. I mean, the D6 squares, F6 squares are weak. By the way, G2, G4 lurking as a tactic. You're not going to want to take that on G4 because knight F6 check and queen takes G6. This looks like a Peter Svidler specialty. He didn't become 8-time champion of Russia when not bringing these kinds of positions home.
No, this looks amazing. Even with only a 2-second increment, this is very clearly in White's favor. Queen H4 being played. Fabi needs to do something active, something crazy. He needs to mix it up because he's positionally lost and with he's down a pawn. So he really needs to do something.
Exactly. We're expecting now bishop takes E6, rook takes E6, now G3. And cementing that pawn, and D7 becomes.
And that's what's going on. Bishop takes E6 on the board. He has taken back with the rook. G3.
Cementing the pawn on F4.
Queen E7.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I'm starting to think of F5, and there it goes. Wow. F5 blowing up the king side. Only 30 seconds for Peter Svidler, but he's in the offensive.
Initiative, and that move F5 is a killer blow. I think that's it. Wow.
F5, that's a great start here for Peter.
Yeah.
I think this is over.
Yeah, the move knight G7. I think that Fabi's prep was actually really, really intriguing. The move knight G7 was simply a misfire. Terrible misfire. Whoa.
A little bit of a subtlety there. I don't know if it was necessary, but Peter deemed it good. To put the knight on C5, I kind of like the rook on G6, I'm not going to lie.
I didn't understand it myself. I thought the knight was heading for the F6 square.
Right.
And
but we see a rook landing on F6. Boom! How are we going to deal with that?
Not bad.
I cannot take on E5 because rook takes G6, pawn takes G6, followed by queen D5 check would pick up the bishop.
Bishop on E5.
And that's why we see an intermediate move, rook D8. I'm a little bit worried about Peter's time management, down to 18 seconds. But remember, Fabi doesn't have a lot himself. 24 seconds for the American player in a terrible position.
By the way,
on E5.
Now by trading on D1, he's missed.
Whoa. He sacrificed an exchange, basically.
Oh.
Or lost it. I'm not really sure. Bishop takes E5. He had that trick still available to him. It's a full exchange, Yasser.
Yeah. If you had to play bishop E5, then I'm sorry, the position was gone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that Fabi didn't just simply miss yet again this trick. And by the way, the time is terrible
for Fabi. Queen e5, trying for some tricks. Maybe knight takes g3, I don't know. Queen f3. Oh, well.
We've seen Peter do this before.
That king is very exposed. Do I have like bishop d4 here? Bishop d4 and queen e2?
Bishop
I did not like queen f4. King f1. Peter having everything under control.
Well, is that true?
Knight e3,
yes,
king e2, queen h5.
No.
g4.
What about
what's going on?
No, it's over.
It's over, right?
It's over.
Knight
now
e6
you just
is
take
coming.
the bishop.
Knight e6, and then you take the bishop, I think. Check.
Just gaining some time.
And that is checkmate, I think. Queen d6, checkmate. Peter Svidler, a huge win for him.
And Hikaru Nakamura, very happy with his draw.
He's very happy with his draw. Not extending his lead because he's still only 1 point ahead of Richard Rapport. But let's jump straight into the action. Shakhriyar Mamedyarov against Sam Shankland. Let's take